nothing wrong with her.
Can I call again tomorrow?
Really? At least nothing that a little spice of matrimony would cure. All she needs to do now is realise that the nature of what she feels for me is love.
How long does your interest in Anne Lister go back?
I was always very familiar with Shibden Hall. I used to visit there as a child a lot, and I always felt an odd connection to Shibden. And when I did realise more about who she was, I couldn't believe that such an extraordinary woman had owned this house that I was so familiar with and that I felt that I had such an attachment to.
I'm going to build an ornamental moss house, or a chaumière, just a small one.
What for?
A what?
A chaumière, like a summer house, like an ornamental...
a shed?
It's a really faithful dramatisation of her journal. I mean, I've made things up, I've taken poetic licence, but I think it is really, really accurate.
And she's so bold and brave, and you know, a traveller, an adventurer, a businesswoman. What were the notes you gave Sir Anne Jones?
Well, we built this character up slowly over a long period of time, which is a luxury you don't often get in television. But she was amazing. I mean, it was a really creative process. It was great fun, of course.
A sense of place and indeed language and tone has always been very important to you. Tell me how Last Tango in Halifax came about.
Well, it was based on what happened to my mum. My dad died in 2001, and she came down to live with us in Oxford, and my sister put on Friends Reunited, and she got in touch with, I think she found out that there were like 3 people on Friends Reunited that were in her class at school, and one of them was Alec, and he was also widowed, and it turned out he'd moved down south too to be near his daughter in Northampton. So he asked her if she wanted to meet up to go out for tea, and it turned out that he'd always had a bit of a crush on her at school, and they fell in love with each other. They were 75, they were both 75, and they absolutely genuinely fell in love with each other. And I'd never seen my mum like that, and she thought it was a bit silly, and she was embarrassed, and she said, "Do you think people think we're silly?" And nothing could have been further from the truth. It was really beautiful.
Morning.
It's 10 to 8.
Yes, sorry I'm late.
Oh, it was never a conscious decision to set so many dramas in the North. I think authenticity is really important to me. You know, being truthful about emotions is obviously very important in drama, and I suppose I feel that you can be more explicit about emotions if you're using very authentic language. And of course, the language that is most authentic to oneself is the language that you grew up with and the language that you're most familiar with. So it seems to make sense to write in my own vernacular.
You dived straight into politics with The Amazing Mrs. Pritchard, which actually, you know, almost like you're some kind of seer, because you understood that people who were really disillusioned with politics in the mainstream would take it upon themselves, albeit reluctantly, to come forward and try and do something different.
It was the 2005 election, and it was the first time I really didn't know who to vote for, and what would happen if somebody was sort of taking at their word when they say, "Oh, you're all as bad as each other and I could do better than any of you lot."
I'm not going to win. Why not? I'm just making a point. It's like I was telling the woman on Newsnight.
Newsnight?
Yeah, I rang them to tell them I was standing. And I assumed that business with John Hughes would be on the 6 o'clock with him being a minister. So I thought Newsnight might want to follow it up. And they did. They do. They were very keen. I spoke to Kirsty Walk.
Why is it the majority of television writing is still being done by men? Vast majority.
I think telly is a really competitive area. A lot of people want to write television. I think it comes down to self-belief and confidence. And I think I'm hesitant to say there are a lot of confident men out there, because I think it's a class thing as much as it's a gender thing. And I think if you know you've got that thing inside you, you've just got to plug away and work at it. But I think it is harder if you're a woman. I think it's harder if you haven't been to a private school. I do talk in schools from time to time, and I'm always shocked by how clear it is that children in state schools just don't have the same confidence as children in private schools. When I started out, I was not confident and very shy, and I had a lot of faith shown in me by people who mattered. And you know, you can have talent needs people to show faith in it.
But you've also said that you fear that a lot of the men doing exactly the same work that you're doing with exactly the same level of experience are getting paid a lot more than you. I can't believe that Sally Wainwright is not getting her fair dues.
I think I probably am, actually. I think that was me being a bit paranoid.
Good.
But I do think it's, you know, the old adage that women have to work twice as hard to stay in the same place or to be in the same place. I mean, I do think that's true.
And what will be after all this?
I've always wanted to make telly. Telly is always the thing that's excited me. You know, you can get something on TV next year, whereas film takes a long time. And it's just going out in people's homes. You don't have to go and sit in a cinema and eat popcorn. It's so wonderful that we're not the poor relations anymore. Film people are coming to us now, which is fantastic.
Sally Wainwright, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.